Hi traders, welcome to Elite Currency. My name is Chris and today's video is focused on the euro dollar and pound dollar analysis, and we'll try to take a look, between 8th and 10th of October, and we'll have a new video on Wednesday. Let's start with the euro dollar daily chart, and this daily chart is showing that on Friday there was actually a strong daily candle close. Surprising, because in intraday trading on Thursday we saw bearish momentum hit the market, dollar starting to strengthen, but it didn't affect the euro dollar as much. We of course saw pound dollar fall a lot. That is something we'll take a look at soon. But basically euro dollar ended up with a bullish candle, and it didn't break below the 23.6 fib as yet. We have some wicks below it here and here, but in my view not breaking below that 117. So that's a critical thing. It could still be respecting the 23.6 fib. If you look at the weekly chart, basically this is the fib we're talking about right here, from here to here. And price, although it did break below this support trend line, right, and is making some downside from the 120, 119 to 117. So there was some few hundred pips fall there. Doesn't have to necessarily fall further than that. This could be a wave forward. This could be a correction basically, and up it goes again for one more high. All right. Why? Because this is quite a big momentum, and the momentum could be enough to create one more push up, and basically the next push will create divergence, which will most likely create a bigger correction. That's why at the moment the 23.6 or the 38.2 fib are highly likely bouncing spots for a higher high, which then in turn could create a bigger correction down to maybe this 50 fib, or be a different fib, but back into that kind of region. So that's why I think that this is the path of least resistance, as I say. But whether it's the 23.6 fib or the 38.2 fib that is going to stop price from correcting to the downside is a good question, and we'll have to see how these candlestick reactions respond to these support levels. All right, for the moment on the weekly chart, the weekly candles are showing some wicks here, and the bears are not in control of these weekly candles as yet. So zooming back in, basically for me to trade a breakout to the downside, I would need to see a candle close below 117, preferably below even 116.75, all right, which is this falling wedge pattern at this moment. If you look at these two trend lines like this, they have different angles of the trend line, which is indicating kind of a falling wedge chart pattern, which is a reversal signal, and in this case a reversal signal, a bearish reversal, bullish reversal signal, right, back to the upside. So a bearish candle, for instance, on Monday that would look like this would confirm the downside break. In that case, on Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever this candle appears, I would look for a bit of retracement, maybe to 38.2 fib, maybe up to 116.75, put the stop loss above 117, above this high, whatever it is, maybe 117.50, and look for a move down to 115 basically, which could again be a bouncing spot as I already explained. So that would be a bearish breakout. I would really need to see a solid daily candle and a good candle close near the low, plus a candle that breaks through at least 117, if not 116.75. Now for upside, basically I would be looking for price to break through the top, the resistance trend line here of this falling wedge. So that could be on a 4-hour chart. If there's a good 4-hour candle like this, for instance, that could be a good signal, a good breakout. And then I would zoom into the hourly chart. All right, I would be looking for basically the break on the 4-hour chart, but on the hourly chart, I'll be looking for a bull flag like this, and I'll be looking for basically price to break that bull flag for trade up to 118.75, 119 to this resistance trend line. And why that trend line? Because if you look at the 4-hour chart, you connect these tops, that's a resistance trend line to reckon with, I think. There's some bottoms in here as well, by the way, around 118.50. So yeah, that seems like a good target zone. Now, of course, if on the daily chart price were to break through this resistance zone, then we could have the bigger breakout to test 120.50, or maybe even make a higher high again. All right, so that would be a breakout, but on a different time frame. I think that would be a daily time frame breakout. So in the meantime, though, basically looking for this breakout on the 4-hour chart, flag, and up it goes, hopefully, right? So that's what I'll be doing. On an hourly chart, I might even put a fib from here to here, and look for, if it breaks like this, if it breaks, look for a bit of a bull flag down to the 23 or 38.2 fib, and then it should break that bull flag to the upside. Now, it also could respect, of course, the top of this wedge and make one more fall down to the bottom of the wedge, right? That's also possible. So it's not that interesting of a trade, but for intraday traders, might be something to think about. If on a 1 hour chart, for instance, so I'm going back and forth a bit, but if we have a strong engulfing twins here, maybe even a 4 hour chart is a bit better. If there's some candlestick pattern on a 4 hour chart, but the thing is that when you get a candlestick pattern like that, there's not much space left to the bottom of the wedge, so it's not that appealing perhaps. But in any case, if price gets back to the bottom, it also could again be a bouncing spot, by the way, to the upside. There could also be a trade right there. So these trend lines might offer some trades, but I'm just warning you that the space in between them is not that big. All right, and now the pound dollar, basically a massive fall, of course, after this triangle break, just as we had a big fall after this triangle break. And that's why these patterns are so important and good to know. And of course, if you're doubting about this triangle break, then this particular breakout candle was definitely the confirmation after breaking this support. That's what I was looking at live, was this breakout candle. That was the confirmation for me for more downside. Now, I'm expecting even more downside, and I'll tell you why. Because the euro dollar doesn't look that way as yet, but the pound dollar is looking very bearish at the moment. Or it was already, of course, with this particular momentum, but I was looking at the 50 fib bounce potential. But since it broke that 50 fib, there's definitely not much left of upside, especially because this momentum is dominating. So what I'm expecting is at least one more lower low, after price makes some kind of correction like this, some bull flag, a correction up to the 38.2 fib, the 50, or even the 23.6 fib. And it should turn and make at least one lower low, because we don't have any divergence. We don't have any resemblance of a potential stop of this bearish momentum. So basically, the target would be 129.75 probably. There's a bigger support trend line from the daily chart, and a minus 272 target. So around 131, 131.25 could be a stopping spot, and another 150 pip fall down to the next target. All right, and that's all based, of course, on this downtrend, the fact that the 50 fib got broken in here, and the fact that there's no divergence, and that this is a very strong momentum. And typically, when we see strong momentum like that, price does not turn. It first makes a lower low to get divergence, at least one divergence, and sometimes, if the momentum is very strong, even a double divergence or a triple on lower time frames. But we should then finally see divergence kick in. When it will happen, we'll see. We don't know how far it will fall first. But 130, 129.75, of course, is a support zone to be aware of. But if we see another bear flag and price breaks through that bear flag, then it could go down to even these targets. So let's see how far it can push. For the moment, the most important aspect, in my opinion, is this bear flag, the break of that bear flag for trade to the downside at the beginning of this upcoming week. All right, more free info and analysis and materials you can find at elitecurrency.com. We have a package called ECS.start. You'll find it on the homepage, and there's a lot of good info there. PDF about Fibonacci, Wiz tools, a lot of good stuff. So, of course, our free analysis is there as well, separate tab, and you'll find more info about our trading systems. Wish you all great trading, have a good weekend, and talk to you soon. Cheers.